So Branden James, celebrated singer, performer, and now writer. Welcome to This Way Out.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you've had so many amazing gigs and jobs, and I was just wondering, does any one particular job or series of jobs really stand out for you personally as the pinnacle?
As the pinnacle. Oh, that's a very good question. Shortly after I was on America's Got Talent, I got a call to fill in for Josh Groban at Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got with Sarah McLachlan, and that was a pretty amazing experience.
I doubt you can top that one very much, huh?
Probably not. I'd been there before in high school, singing, but with my high school choir, it was a little bit different to be there as a soloist.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was probably my pinnacle gig.
And the gig went well, and what was the event?
It was a Christmas concert. There's an American composer named Tim Janis, who works at the Red Hat Foundation, which Kate Winslet is a big proponent of, a chairperson even, I believe. And it was a charity Christmas concert that he was involved in with Sarah McLachlan and a whole bunch of other people who I couldn't even tell you at the moment.
No, it sounds stunning, absolutely stunning. So, you know, in your book, which I thoroughly enjoyed reading, and it's quite the bit of a roller coaster ride, you know, you take us everywhere in that book. You've written about having put all your energy into living in the past or just for the future. And I'm just wondering if you would care to share your thoughts about what it means to you and, you know, what it takes to remain living in the present moment.
Well, I definitely found that focusing myself in the morning, just doing 10 minutes of meditation really kind of helps set my intention for the day. And to remember to shut off that little voice in our heads that we all have, that we were all born with for whatever reason, that's constantly casting self-doubt or telling you to eat that cookie and then calling you fat for eating it. Do you do? You know, that what I'm talking about? Yeah,
absolutely.
To kind of tune that out. I was taught once in a life coaching situation that you should just treat it like the radio in the background. You know it's there, but you're not necessarily listening intently to everything that's happening. But it's there and you're acknowledging it and you move on with life. So yeah. That's the best way I stay present, is just to kind of ignore that voice.
Yeah, make it more of a white noise than a dark noise, huh?
Yeah.
So, you know, touching a little more on this, because you, like I say, you do get very personal after everything you've experienced. And I was just curious what your recommendations would be for those, you know, very sensitive folks like yourself, like myself even, that you use for boosting, you know, self-confidence and self-esteem.
So you're asking me what advice I would give to people who maybe lack self-esteem?
Right.
Well, I don't know, because I kind of only more just recently feel like I'm in a place where I to be honest, where I love myself again and care about myself enough, and I'm proud of who I am. And that kind of came through the process of writing the book and understanding that I have a deep love for people, and it seems to be reciprocal. And I didn't believe that for so many years, for most of my life. I think it's a personal journey, and I think writing and journaling certainly helps, or finding some way to explore a little bit more about who you are. Therapy obviously works. Mm-hmm. And it sounds cliche, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but to talk to yourself kind of like a loving parent might talk to their own child. I often find myself saying, it's okay, you're going to be just fine, it's going to be great, you know, because I do need that reminding often.
That's beautiful, and I'm going to borrow that one. I like that very much. Thank you.
Please.
So in the book, you're amazingly detailed and specific, as I said, and this is more of a personal, curious question. Are you one of those people who remembers every little thing, you know, practically going back to your time in the crib, and it's just It's always going, it's always recording.
I do have a vivid memory for detail, and experience, and like I can smell and remember tasting things. And but as far as writing a memoir in chronological order, there were some pieces I had to put together, and I did keep some journals in college, and then later again in my 30s, and um, then also I called my mom and pieced some details together about my early childhood stuff. So she was a big help in that. But for the most part, I do have a pretty good kind of elephant memory, as they say.
It's a gift. It's absolutely a gift. And yeah, I would read some of your passages and just go, how does he remember what, the fabric looked like, or, just your level of detail was pretty amazing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So kind of jumping ship here, jumping topics, you've spoke candidly about your HIV status in the book. And I just wondered, what are your thoughts, if you care to air them, about the current pending insurance battle with the pre-existing conditions and ACA?
Well, am I allowed to use swear words?
You'll probably be bleeped, but as far as I'm concerned, swear away, right?
Well, I think it is a great American tragedy if we take away insurance for people with pre-existing conditions. And that, if it happens soon, it could include COVID-19. And how fair is that? People who have long-term effects from the current pandemic, you're going to take away their insurance because they got something that happens once every 100 years. God forbid, not anytime sooner again. I think it's terrible. I believe that people who are upstanding, tax-paying citizens of the country that they live in all deserve equal care, and that health care is a right and not a privilege, and that we should all be entitled to it in some form.
I couldn't agree more. Are you, just out of curiosity again, do you consider yourself an activist type person who likes to get out in there and march in the streets and stuff?
I certainly did a lot in the beginning of the Black Lives Matter protests. I really personally wanted to know more about the movement, and to my own fault, didn't really understand enough about what Black Lives Matter meant. And I felt like I needed to be there and feel the energy around me to understand exactly where all the pain and anger was coming from. And very quickly, I understood, and spent maybe 8 or 9 days in a row in New York City, and took a bunch of footage and turned it into a music video, because I wanted to find a way to place my feelings and put all this this frustration and anger that I now had and had acquired somewhere. So I turned it into an art project with my husband, and it turned out really cool, something that we're really proud of. But as far as activism is concerned, I donate a fair amount of time and money when I can to HIV/AIDS causes in particular, and things in the LGBTQ community. And I'm no stranger to random acts of kindness and generosity to people who I care about or don't know, but who I think are amazing.
Beautiful. Part of why I asked that is just because it is such a weird confluence of, we're stuck at home, we really need to get out there and let people know. So I'm just interested in, how other folks are kind of dealing with that major dichotomy,
Yeah, I think there's always more we could do, all of us. And sometimes I feel guilty about not doing enough, just because of time or schedules and things. That it might come in a donation to a campaign I believe in, or a few phone calls to some senators at the moment regarding the Supreme Court issues. But I wish sometimes I had more time to donate to activism. I'm sure I could make more time.
But it's quite a pivot for all of us, absolutely.
Yeah.
So getting to the music, which obviously is a giant chunk of you. I did want to comment that I really thought the Branden and James videos were just I love the style and I love the ease with which they're done. And, you know, is that going to become more of a series, or is that just, you know, it is what it is kind of a thing?
Well, we just released a new album on July 31st of this year called Chasing Dreams, and we've shot 10 videos out of
Fantastic.
the 12 tracks that are there. So we have 2 more to do, which we'll finish it. The first music video that we shot together, we just happened upon this like ridiculous, amazing deal to get a couple of drones and their pilots, and someone donated their 50,000 acre ranch outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. So we have these like epic cliff scenes and stuff with drones. So I kind of became obsessed with filming music videos.
Okay.
And then we travel a lot internationally, pre-COVID at least. So I started organizing, shooting music videos in different countries. So we've shot several in Italy, in South Africa, in Portugal. I know I'm missing places at the moment, but we kind of have a passion for shooting them. I love the process. I love scouting for new scenes and being creative with storylines and things like that. For the most part, we've been in all of them. We're kind of exploring shooting some new videos that don't necessarily center around us, but the story of the song does.
I love the idea of it just sort of organically growing of itself and becoming, you know, what it is, as well as other new things. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's a very fun process. It can be grueling because sunrise, sunset are the best times to shoot things like that. So it's very early mornings, it can be very late nights, and take after take after take after take, and that sort of thing.
Understood. So that is occupying you guys' time now. Are there other projects or other ideas that you're working on at the same time, or that you have, you know, in the wings?
Yes, we are putting together sort of initial ideas for a Christmas album, a holiday album for 2021. It was a little ambitious to try and do it this year, although we had a lot of time, it seemed, in the beginning to do it. But somehow in quarantine, I found myself to be very busy.
Well, and that's tricky. How do you market something in 2020? What is a show in 2020, right?
Yeah, it was a strange year to release an album and a book, because normally those come with tours where you can reach and touch real people. But we've been lucky. You know, we did a series of, I don't know, 15 virtual concerts during quarantine, and then found this lucky part of the country in Maine where we are right now that's quasi-operational, and we've been playing live shows. And
Beautiful.
we're going to Santa Fe, New Mexico to do the same thing, and then down to Puerto Vallarta. So while we would normally be kind of zigzagging all over the world, we're just doing longer stints in places within the United States at the moment. And it's kind of nice to be in one place and not be in an airplane or an airport for a spell. And I'm not complaining about that at all.
Well, it's a true blessing to be able to do what you want to be doing these days. I mean, it's saying a lot.
But so many of our colleagues of all ages and calibers are not working and have been at home trying to do virtual things. Or, I mean, some of my friends are like legendary string players and opera singers, and they're older in their careers, and some don't even have a website because they didn't need one. That's not where they started. And now so that they're trying to figure out, how do you transition from who they are to something that people can relate to online, and that's been a little bit challenging.
I would say, yeah, it's challenging for everyone, and for others, it's a lot challenging. You know, it's not easy for any of us, for sure.
Yeah, and everyone's had to reinvent themselves this year, I would say, to a certain extent.
Yeah, we've been stripped for parts, or it feels that way sometimes. So speaking of websites, sort of winding things down a little, is there a website or Facebook page or what have you that you want to put out here and tell the people to go visit and, find out what's up next with you?
Sure, absolutely. They could, your wonderful audience could follow me and my husband. We kind of come as a pair, even though he's doing other things at the moment.
Feel free to talk him up as well.
So we're called Branden and James. So my name is Branden James, and his name is James Clark. So it confuses a lot of people because my first and last name is his first name. But
at least he's not James Branden.
People ask us, is he going to become James James? Which is funny and maybe a good idea, but we didn't do it. But people can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at Branden J Music. It's BRANDEN Music. Or just look up Branden and James. Just remember I'm Branden with an E. And then our website is brandenjames.com.
Beautiful.
Where they can find all of our stuff. And obviously on YouTube, we have tons of content there too.
Yes. And what I've dived into thus far has been really enjoyable. So thank you for all that. And thank you for the book and, making your way through all the different things that you talk about in that book and, finding yourself, right?
Yeah. Thanks for reading it. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So I guess back to your question about self-esteem, if anyone else who needs a tool to find themselves, just write your memoir, and it's the most cathartic thing that you could possibly imagine. You'll get to know yourself.
How long did it take?
About 1.5 years. A lot of tears. I wrote a lot on planes and trains and in hotel rooms and things like that.
Well, I'm happy for you, and I'm proud of you, and I'm sure your whole family is thrilled that it's all out there, because as it should be.
Thank you. I was very nervous about putting so many personal details, being vulnerable in front of people I don't know. But I've only been met with really nice compliments about being brave and about being personable and being vulnerable. And I was not expecting everyone to be so emphatic about it. So it's been a pleasant surprise.
Well, thank you again, Branden James, for talking with us and just letting us know where you're at. And on behalf of This Way Out, we really enjoyed talking to you.
Cheers. The pleasure was all mine.